Good afternoon. My name's Stuart Wallace. Welcome to Hard Hats and Headspace. This is the first podcast that we're recording today, and we're going to be talking about workforce, well-being, mental and physical health, the world of neurodiversity. We've got some great lived experience and experts that we can tap into through my very vast network that I've amassed over the last 3 decades. I hope you find it interesting. I hope it inspires some people to reach up, stand up and speak up for themselves and for others in the workplace, because that affects our lives. So I wanted to do something different. I've been on some other podcasts and I thought I might have a story to tell, but more importantly, I think I've got lots of people in my network who have a great story to tell too. So enjoy. We're going to have 2 wonderful guests today, Johnny and Matt from What About You? They're going to tell us more about what they're doing in the workplace, so I won't spoil the fun on that. So enjoy the show, subscribe, get in touch if you'd like to be a guest, and I hope you find it informative. So let's get going. Podcast number 1. Thanks for tuning in.
Can I get a rewind?
Recording now. Right, so we're going to hear each other?
Yep.
Good. I can get there. Let's do it, boys.
Let's go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Hard Hats and Headspace, our first ever podcast. I have some wonderful guests with me today. And I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves.
All right. How you doing? I'm Jonathan Pankhurst. I'm going to say this partner in What About You? Hopefully a new platform in mental health and wellbeing, based around night shift working, shift workers, unsociable hours. Started this off on the basis of wanting to make a difference to our industry, also just in general people, to try and help the ones that are in the dark, the ones that they don't feel as valued, and that's the thing about night shift, and that's where we're coming from.
Literally in the dark.
Yes, exactly. Jonathan Pankhurst.
And
Matt Collins, as Johnny said. Johnny's partner in What About You? Also health, safety and wellbeing manager with 25 plus years experience in the construction industry. 10 of those in health, safety and wellbeing.
brilliant. Well, welcome, guys. So I know these wonderful chaps through work. We all work for Mace, and I thought it was best to start in-house with 2 people I say are friends, not just mates. We are
Definitely.
friends.
Absolutely, I'd like to think so, Stu.
And they are...
As he puts his arm around his partner.
Cuddling's allowed.
We're not that close.
And
It's way.
this podcast will go off in all sorts of ways, definitely. Johnny and I are both ADHDers, and as we'll see as we go through, we are real and raw. We will talk how we feel. So we'll try and keep the language respectful, but
I can't promise
not
that,
all.
I'm afraid, and I really will apologise now about my language.
It's usually more acceptable with an accent.
Yes, exactly.
So,
it is part of our vocabulary.
So these guys are fantastic, and I hope you enjoy hearing more about where the guys are coming from and what they're trying to do. In the normal paid-for part of our work, I know they're amongst the best at what they do, but this is something that is more. It's above and beyond. So I know you give a brief intro, so let's talk a bit more about what inspired you to start with What About You?
Well, let's get it from where we have built it over this last year. The last year has been manic in Mace's field construction at Heathrow Airport at nights. It's a different animal. Not just working nights, but Heathrow in general. The fast-paced environment, the high-risk construction work in which we do at nights that has to be done to the millimetre, has to be fine-tuned for operations to happen the next morning. The pressure and the stress that goes into our job in general. Some people may look at our job and go, easy. You don't do the grafting, you don't do the digging of holes out with the spades and that there. The mental resilience we have to have with regards to the works in which we do there at nights is nuts. Matt said it brilliant. You know, you look at Monsters Inc., the film. Everybody knows that, where they have the screams that fuel up their generators. Well, Matt always said, like, you know, when you come in, the night manager's job for the start of the night, the first hour or two, if you were able to build that up in stress, you could power the world. He says, because it's so stressful, trying to make sure everything's right, etc. So, the working nights has got its difficulties, but it also can have its benefits with regards to us being able to do the work while there's no operations, etc., etc. With Way and what we have sort of noticed with 30 years experience, I think it is, between us on nights, and just nights alone, we are the forgotten people. And this isn't a thing, poor woes us. We are, we need body cuddled and that there. We know that's the case. There's a lot of great things out there.
Sorry about that, Johnny. That's the case across night shift. That's not a Heathrow dig. That's not a Mace dig. It's just a general observation.
I think you're right. I mean, I started off in manufacturing and used to work days and nights, and they were changing to continental shifts, and I never looked good in a sombrero. But it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Right? Nights wasn't for me. I didn't particularly like it. Even, in fact, one of the reasons I put my hand up to be a steward was to get a night off. Right.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's the difficulty in it is the unsociable hours, the circadian rhythm, which Matt will talk more in depth about, how it messes you up with regards to how your whole body has meant to work. It has worked for 30 years of my life. You know, the last 13 or 10 or whatever it is that there has changed on that there, and I'm still not used to it. I'm still not fully grasp of it. What I will say is, though, what we've adapted within Way and the tools and the educating ourselves, and you can make it better with nutrition, you know, physical activity, the Shinrin-yoku forest bathing as they call it here, grounding, all the natural stuff in which we do on days. You have to try and fit that into your day somehow or your night somehow, and that does help. We've proven that, haven't we, Matt?
Absolutely, and you know the excuse me, the relevant point there that Johnny made is, you know, after 10 years, he's still not used to it. You know, research by the academics up at Oxford University. This is not stats that myself and Johnny pulled out. You know, this proper research papers. 97% of people who work nights cannot typically naturally adjust to that. You know, we are not meant to be doing that. You know, physiology, we're not that different to our ancestral brothers and sisters of 50 years ago, 50,000 years ago. You know, we're cave dwellers.
Everyone,
we should be
animal, unless you're a bat or an owl, right? Which is a myth, by the way. Owls are not nights. They're not necessarily nocturnal, right?
At night time, we should be
sleeping,
tucked away in our cave with a nice warm fire, away from predators.
And, and there's something that while Matt's jumping on that there, you know, there's lots of different detrimental effects to us on nights with regards to what we're doing. Matt will probably go through a few of the stats because Matt's pretty good at that. Like so I'm all over the place with that.
Never.
But now you would never notice. Like I'm having to hold my hands together here just to try and keep myself from not getting up doing 50 press ups. For instance, we're talking about the health deficiencies that you can get with regards to that. You know, Matt says about that we shouldn't really be working that they're sort of. I'm going to say that them hours.
Yeah.
A real important stat which I found absolutely amazing was, you know, our testosterone levels with regards to men. Once we hit 37, our testosterone levels start dropping. Yep, that's fact. That's just the way nature works. Your replenishing moments for your testosterone levels is actually between 3 and 5 in the morning. That's a fact.
When you're asleep.
When you're
supposed
asleep.
to be.
When you're supposed to be asleep. So the likes of us night workers that are working on nights, between 3 and 5, we are meant to be sleeping for our testosterone levels to drop. Or for the replenish.
Yeah.
Apologies. Yeah. And we're not told that. You know.
No.
This is the thing. This is the thing. What we're trying to do. We're trying to find it. We are gathering all this information, which we do have, and we are proving that when you start replenishing, for instance, testosterone supplements. For instance, there's great companies out there, Newman, etc., and so on. Natural testosterone, like ashwagandha, tonkat ali, etc. All natural herbs which you can take to try and help you replenish them when you're thing. And like Matt knows, like I'm taking, I could fill this table so I could with minerals and vitamins in which I'm taking at the moment, trialing them, making sure that they're good. And I believe in the last 6 months, Matt might be able to tell you that whether this is true or not, I have lived and breathed exactly what we're trying to get across with educating people on nights. I'm performing out of my skin, and that's me. I'm not trying to go, oh yeah, look, check me out.
I would back that up, you know, and I think anyone that works with us that knows you, you know, whether they work directly with us or as part of the supply chain or just, you know, colleagues across the airport or construction, and I think that's it's great that you. You know, but you said something that pricked an interest in me there. They don't tell us this.
No.
Well, they do now.
Do now.
Yeah. Well, this is the big thing. You know, one of the biggest parts of What About Ye is the educational thing, because, you know, people aren't aware of the detrimental effects of working nights and shift work. People just aren't aware of it. People aren't aware of it. Not just the people that do it. Family members aren't aware of it. How it affects their loved ones that are working. You know, it's massive.
Society.
You know, absolutely, Stu. Yeah. Absolutely, guys are just quite simply unaware of the health impacts affected by working nights. Everyone knows if you go up a ladder, you know, if you fall off, you're going to be seriously injured.
It's going to,
or worse.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows if you're working with, you know, chemical substances, you take precautions. But very few people know the adverse effects of working nights. And we're you know, we're not talking a stubbed toe. We're talking cancers. We're talking diabetes. We're talking depression.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking cardiovascular disease. Serious health implications of working nights that will affect you.
And it, you know, let's have it right. We work in a dangerous industry, right? And companies like ours and guys like you two make working for our business, right, one of the safest places to be. And thank God we've got people like you, right?
And you. Remember, yes, yourself as well. Don't be underselling yourself there, Stu.
I follow your lead. But so starting off, it's a dangerous industry already, and then you stick nights into it. When I say society, well, let's take it out of our normal comfort zone, right? Because when I come and do night shifts with you guys, and we walk around and whatever, just last week, and I'm going home from Heathrow on the M25, the M23, and it's shut, and the cones are there, and you can see people zooming up the outside, right? It's dangerous. It's bloody dangerous. And now, the people that are working there aren't thinking, this is wonderful, right? To be sat out in the middle of a motorway. Yeah. It's construction, right? And so they've got the dangers of people being pissed off at cones, right? and the dangers of working on a motorway, and the dangers of being out at night. So we have it throughout there. And when I say society doesn't get it, those drivers are pissed off. They're not thinking about the welfare of the people in the middle of the road. No. And that is the same when we're in the airport.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's important, society and people that hopefully listen to this podcast, if all we get is a bit of awareness from the people on the outsides of it, amazing.
And just using that example, Stu, of lads and lasses, working in that environment, a dangerous environment on a motorway, just using that as an example. Some of the effects of working nights, they're not just ill health. It's widely recognised within the industry that night workers are more prone to be frustrated. They're more prone to reduced sensory thresholds. They might not hear as well as people as their day shift counterparts. They're more impulsive. They're more likely to take risks.
Yeah.
In an environment like ours, Heathrow Airport, and in an environment like the one that you don't want people taking risks in that sort of environment. You don't want people being impulsive, but it's a research-backed, scientifically proven that people who work nights will take those steps.
Yeah, we'll take more. The tiredness maybe lowers your guard. Is that maybe that's a phrase?
Absolutely,
cover it, right?
More so than tiredness, fatigue.
Yes,
fatigue.
Yeah,
kills.
Yeah,
and fatigue is should be on everybody's agenda at the moment with the hot conditions that we're experiencing. A 3% decrease in dehydration's gonna start affecting you.
Yeah.
A 5% decrease in dehydration will start affecting you pretty bad.
Yeah.
10 or more,
you need to get.
You're probably gonna die.
And it's interesting. So, obviously, we all think about the well-being of our colleagues and in various ways. I mean, I know we'll come on to it later, but different ways of looking after yourself, different things to try to wake up instead of a coffee and all that. Right, we'll get there.
Yep.
But it is trying to help our colleagues. And I go to other sites, and someone will say, "I'm working 3 floors up, and this building goes 3 floors down, but the water machine's on ground level. But I'm on the 3rd floor."
Yep.
Right, so I'll come all the way down, have a drink, sweat going back up in PPE.
Yep.
I need another drink when I get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but I can't take bottles. So I've got to come back down. And I'm like, okay, not only is that bad for him, but from a business perspective, I've just wasted 15 minutes coming down, 10 minutes, 15 minutes going back up, put a water cooler up there, waste about a minute.
Yeah.
It costs about £100.
And
use your brains.
Whilst you bring that up about productivity and the loss of the industry, what did we have it as? Was it 50 million per year is lost with regards to lost productivity, with regards to mental health?
The stats again out of the Oxford University research say, and they're quite conservative. They say 50 billion.
Billion.
In the UK.
Flip me. There you go.
But it's more likely. Industry experts have said it's more likely to be between 70 and 100 billion pounds is a cost to the UK economy.
Poor productivity.
But worker attrition, accidents, poor productivity. And again, going back to our 2 examples, if you like, that we've mentioned already: airport working and working on motorways or roads. You have a massively reduced working window. You want to be, or from a business perspective, the last thing you want is, the last thing I would want as a business owner is reduced productivity.
Yeah.
As a business owner,
bang for your buck.
Yeah. And less disruption to Joe Public, etc. To the wider audience, if you like. So ways of increasing productivity should be should be on the agenda.
And that's what we're bringing to companies.
Amazing.
That is the thing. We want to bring that to the companies so that we are going to help their workforce.
Amazing.
Not just be better people, but actually be more productive on site. So I'm not sorry to jump in on but I wanted to say that there. It sounds as if, and this is what I think a lot of people think we are doing, we're being negative about working nights. We're trying to say that you shouldn't be working nights. It's detrimental to your health. What we're actually putting in place, and what I'm actually, as I say, I'm a Christ test dummy at the moment. And I'm trying everything to make that better. This is proven to help.
And listen, right? I mean, your brain and mine have just gone to that and clashed into each other. No, I was just about to say, great segue. Let's talk about then.
Should I be in the middle?
You bounce it off, right? Let's talk about the positivity that we want to bring from the energy you two wonderful humans bring, right? What is it from What About You that we're going to bring to the industry, or do you want to bring? What are those great things? We've got the stats, right, and we know, right. I always talk about, and I will never apologise, the shocking suicide stats in construction. 2 per working day, right. Night has got to be part of that.
Yeah.
And in the mental health stuff, so we know we've got a problem. We've got to solve. What about you?
What is it going to do?
Yeah.
Improve productivity, improve the health, the well-being, the general health of people working nights. They don't need to be ill, or they don't need to suffer ill health. There are ways to combat, like everything, there are ways to combat certain things.
So give me some examples of. I don't want to give everything away, right?
No.
But if you're coming in to pitch to me and KT, right, okay, we'll give you some money, or we'll adopt your way.
Yep. Very good. I like it.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? What should we do for our team?
So what we have to offer for that is obviously the education side of things. What we've just talked about there before, about the detrimental effects that it has, we have remedies for every one of them at the moment. The remedies are nutrition. For anybody that's listening, you won't be able to see us here, but I've carried a watermelon too here. You know what I mean? I've brought some key limes and stuff in here for to give to Stuart and Matt, which I always do anyway when they come in.
This will be on YouTube.
No problem.
By the way,
Good. But
it's terrible.
This is where Matt's face is going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait for this. That's why I brought them, to be honest with you. Stu's a hardened key lime taker at the moment, but what we want to try and what we're wanting to try and do is educate them on the nutrition side of things with regards to nights.
Yeah.
The stat states it's 33% more likely that you will be obese or overweight from working nights.
Okay.
Again, mental health is the same stat, isn't that right? 33% more likely to have mental health.
Yeah.
40% more chance of diabetes, etc., etc.
Okay.
So again, what we want to try and educate them, and what we want to try and bring is our own, not brand of nutrition, but bringing in the nutritional values of foods. Yeah. Even if it's just leaflets put down in the welfare units from Way, this is the benefits of this. Actually, I had it all printed out before, but I would bore you with the science of it.
That's fine.
All the stuff in which we are taking, eating, etc., is helping us perform. Hence the reason why we need to bring this in and help the workers for the contractors, the companies themselves.
Everyone, by the way.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
When we first started this back in May last year, we purchased a soup and smoothie maker that we used to take into the office. I say we, that Chef Johnny.
Chef Johnny, yeah, I was going to say.
Chef Johnny used to, we used to get guys coming in, and I'm talking, sometimes it was 20 minutes, wasn't it? To make a mushroom soup from scratch. That's that's taking the mushrooms out of the packet, prep, and then cooking it while you're out on site or doing some stuff.
Yeah.
For a really nutritious meal.
Yeah.
Those we'd do one on a Monday. More often than not, we'd get a couple of days out of it.
Yep.
It was cheap.
Yeah.
It was wholesome. It was filling.
Fresh.
It was fresh.
Fresh.
It was organic. It wasn't pre-packed.
Amazing.
But we used to get guys coming in the office, going,
Smells nice.
I nearly said it.
Oh,
Saying-
I'd have loved that if you'd have said that first before I said a swear word.
We used to get guys coming in the office going, what is that smell? That is amazing. Oh, where's the soup? Johnny's cooking the soup. What? Stick your head in there. And he'll be in there, washing up after cooking the soup. And the guys, let's have a nice bit of sourdough bread or a wholemeal pita. Have a dip. Oh, this is amazing.
So, I mean, I love that. I think it's brilliant. So we need. So you're talking to me as the owner of, Wazza Electrics or something, right? And I'm providing the welfare.
Yep.
Or I'm the client,
Yep.
right? And I provide the welfare. So at the moment, I give you a vending machine,
Yep.
right? Kettle. Probably not a toaster,
No.
right?
Microwave.
For good reasons, no
Yeah.
toaster, by the way.
Yeah.
There's fire alarms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if I put those things in there, or I can go to my catering contractor, who's going to go, that's going to affect my income,
Yep.
right? So how do we square that? What can I provide as a contractor? I'm not bothered about the caterer if they can't jump on board.
Yeah. For instance, like the soup and smoothie maker, which we're talking about, 150 quid. Yeah. I've got one at home. I've got one with me. It travels everywhere with me. It's like my wee companion, so it is. I make ginger shots and everything out of it, like smoothies with regards to watermelon and grape and that. They're just in the thing, blend it up. I think lasts for days.
Yeah.
The nutritional value of it, again, to keep on going on about the nutritional value, the problem in which we have in the environments in which we work with regards to the building, they want burgers, they want chips, they want this here, because they don't know any different.
They don't know.
Any different.
They don't know.
So the education should be coming from you, yourself personally.
Yeah.
So if you were providing a welfare facility,
Stick three soup and smoothie makers in there. Stick three in there.
Instead of a microwave. Instead of the standard vending machine with Monster, Red Bull, Lucozade,
Monster Munch.
crisps,
Yeah.
chocolate. You go into a vending machine in any area, even we'll go down to this thing.
Whatever,
Even Huel, and I know that's a good replacement drink. It's highly processed, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we need to be providing it from the client to the CEOs of the supply chain contractors. They're the ones that need to be educated as well. As much as they probably know about it, a lot of people in nights, they don't have a voice. So here's the other one. We're the voice for these guys, like you are for the guys when you come in. When you come in to do your IR stuff. I love that, and I always mention you in my inductions when we come to the modern slavery, etc. and so on like that. I said, let me know what's going on. Are you not getting paid the industry standard? Great guy here. He'll help you out. We should have nutrition, the likes of stuff in which we were talking about, in the inductions for night workers.
Brilliant.
That's what we would like to bring across to companies.
And I think actually you're pushing at an open door.
Yeah.
I do believe this, right? Because our client there, but the other clients that we work with across our group want people to be well at work and be in, right? So we can sell that to they can push it. So when they're bringing in, when I mentioned the caterers before, why can't I instruct my caterers to have some discussions with you about what they're providing?
Definitely, and that's the key.
With regards to the soups and smoothie makers, I really don't see any cons.
Yeah.
You mentioned a toaster. Obviously, there's cons regarding that.
Yeah.
We work in a highly sensitive area. Most site cabins are, highly sensitive with smoke alarms. If you put a toaster in there, your productivity is going to probably fall because people are being tipped out because of smoke alarms being set off. A soup and a smoothie maker is not going to set any alarms off. It's not 1975 where you could probably take the lid off and put your hand in while, they're not like that. These things wash them damn selves afterwards. When you're finished, When you're finished, you fill it with water, put a little blob of fairy washing up liquid. Not being paid for that.
Other liquids are available.
Put the lid on, press a setting, in 4 minutes it cleans it. Ready for the next person to come along and
Yes,
use.
if we had a number of these on the project.
Take the kettle, you know, yes, you know, kettle. I think the main standard is, you know, should always have a Burco boiler mounted to the wall as opposed to a kettle. But we do have sites with kettles. Yeah. Kettles are an enormous part of the infrastructure of a construction site kitchen.
100%.
Make a smoothie and soup maker part of that kitchen infrastructure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what I'm trying to move us to is what we can do. What we can do as individuals, and that's brilliant.
We have talked about, and it is massive, like, and I keep on banging the drum about nutrition and stuff like that there, and how it is. It's how I perform, even though I fast. I fast every day, like, well, but it's when I eat. It's the raw, organic, quality foods in which I eat then is the ones that parses. But let's talk about the physical side of things, where we have to get our workforce educated on how important moving is.
Yeah.
Not just sitting on the canteen on your phone, etc. and so on.
Behind a desk.
Bringing in a couple, like we've got Matt's daughter is a food nutritionist, isn't she?
Dietitian.
Dietitian, sorry, yeah. My friend's PT thing. We can actually bring programs to the workforce.
Yeah.
5 minutes, right? People keep on asking me, I've got myself into great shape through this. It's been an absolute, like, I am buzzing because it was never the case.
Yeah.
All I was doing here was trialing these foods, the running, the walking, the thing, to try and get myself right up here.
Yeah.
The thing is, the aesthetic side of things have come without me even trying. You know, someone go, oh, you go to the gym and that there? I don't have a gym. I don't go to the gym. I do 10 minutes of body weight workouts. I've got a couple of little apparatus. I've got one here, like, but it's a brought with me, which Stu's going to do as well. So we'll hopefully get that there on it. Which I do.
In this bit where it comes to.
For 10 minutes every morning, and people are like, "You're a liar. You're going to the gym." I don't do it.
We've got the resistance bands hanging off of office doors. You know,
amazing.
Where it's been done.
I mean, there was a guy I worked with at Euston.
Yep.
On the train station, and he introduced stretch and flex in the morning. It is brilliant. I'm a fan of it.
Yep.
Ian did it a couple of times. I was there, right?
Yep.
But it goes, stop.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah.
It has to be consistent. You have to do it consistent.
And the space to do it is
Yeah.
important. The time to do it is important. The psychological side of people agreeing to do it.
And but also, Stu, you know, things like that, in my opinion, you know, are not necessarily the employer's responsibility. There is nothing stopping somebody doing that at home.
Education.
But educate them first.
Yeah.
Educate them. You know, you don't see even a golfer, something as leisurely as a game of golf. You know, you don't see Rory stand on the first tee and smack a ball 380 yards down the fairway. Right, he's probably smacking it more like 420 these
That's
days.
a terrible golfer, by the way. Even I do my stretches.
But, you know, something as simple as a game of golf, you need to physically and mentally prepare for it. Some of the stuff that we do on site is so physical.
Yeah.
Some of our ground workers, Oliver Connell and Sons, you know, and other contractors, it's a really physical job.
Yeah.
And it's not a physical job for 20 minutes.
It's deadlifting all night.
It's a physical job for 10 hours.
Yeah.
You know, some of these guys are freaking athletes.
Yeah.
You know. But, you know, there's a great book I read once, and it was, you know, don't put diesel in your Ferrari.
Yeah.
But that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're putting processed shite into the sorry.
Get in there.
That's fine.
Get in there.
Don't worry.
Yes.
I told
Get
you
in
be
there.
yourselves.
We're putting highly processed rubbish
Yes. That's fine.
Into the human body, which is the greatest thing on this planet.
I mean, and you're right. You know, and it is something I'm learning, and since we've become good friends, you know, you've got me onto the different things we'll talk about in a bit. And it's really important. And by the way, don't worry about offending. I think more people be offended by you saying golf's a simple and easy game, by the way, because it's not. I've been trying for 3 years. I'm still rubbish. Someone said to me, "What's your handicap?" I was like, "Golf." So, but yeah, you're right. So education. So, come on, Johnny, give us some examples.
Examples of it. So
we've got the stuff out there.
Right. So what I've got here. I'm gonna move. Okay. Just watch it because there's a lot of liquid on that now. And I do not want that falling all over this nice fancy stuff. So, for instance, we have been educating ourselves with regards to the foods in which we're taking in. You know, we have been brought up in a generation where we're saying that seeds are bad. Yeah. You know what I mean? The grapes are
get the pips out, Mum.
Get the pip, don't let them in.
Yeah.
They're actually really good for you.
Yeah.
They are like really good for you. Grape seeds and stuff, really good for heart health, cardiovascular and stuff like that. Great for eye health, digestion, etc. It's the same with the key limes. Matt, you couldn't pass us over a couple of these key limes. Your favourites?
Yes, chef.
Yeah,
yes, chef.
Yeah. I do make your soup for you. Remember that? Again, a lot of the foods in which we're talking about aren't actually seeded.
Yeah.
So it is. So again, a wee bit of education in regards to what we're trying to bring in to the industry to say this is actually better for you.
This is where we got to go.
Again, our platform in which we're trying to get. I'm not saying we're teachers, but we're trying to educate people on the benefits of all this stuff in which we're taking. You know, even the fasting. As much as I'm saying about the nutrition is, fasting to me is my superpower, which I do, but it's what I break it with. I know a lot of people that are fasting out there. As soon as they break their fast, they're off to McDonald's. It doesn't help.
Absolutely.
It's not helping, or the processed stuff in which it is. But again, if I'm trying to promote, for instance, something like fasting in an industry in which we're in, we can't go on nights, right? You're going to the Eurist and you're going to get a chicken burger and chips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have to have this type of stuff available, readily available on our site. We'll go back to the
and then we could talk to the Urists or Grabinskis or Bonnett's and all those companies
and
about
again, it's not, this isn't something that I've got.
And they're desperate for this, right?
Yep.
Because you know those providers will say, "Oh, well, everyone just wants this, don't they?" But if you go, "Oh no, why don't you try this as well?" Like, do not cut yourself.
I'm not. It's a butter knife, for God's sake. I cut myself with a butter knife, but I am going to cut this open here. I'm not actually, because it might break. I don't want to think it. But we will do this here at another time, maybe.
Well, we can do. Yeah. We can give it. We can take a.
Can I go off camera?
During
can the health and safety manager?
If the health and safety manager
we can take a comfort break and come back for part two and get that in a bit.
Yeah.
So,
but again, we go back to about this nutrition side of things. Matt was talking about the soup and smoothies things. We have already said about them, haven't we, to Mace and that there, and I think we're getting the funding by the looks of things. It's thrown out there. We're
reeling them in.
Yeah.
Trying to.
Hopefully, listen.
We got it on. We got it on the agenda. That's something.
Starting the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's brilliant.
So that's the side of thing, and we're wanting to try and provide that for the night managers at first in the thing, to try and say to them, this is what we're doing. Again,
guys,
resistant band in each office. While you're making a cup of tea and the kettle's boiling, you do a couple of chase flies on there.
Yeah.
While you're waiting on there, instead of being on your phone looking at TikTok or whatever it is you're watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? We waste so much time. When we only need that little bit of opportunity, you know, with 86,400 seconds a day.
I mean, and this is joking, but what you got to make sure is don't become a TikTok star, because you see all those ones with the resistance bands and they snap. So make sure they're properly
I've already
secured.
done that. I already have the scars from that. Likes to do that. Putting in the wrong side of the door and the door flying open.
So just make sure that's secured.
I introduced Johnny to a concept that the British cycling team. I think the guys.
Love this.
Brailsford, is it, Mike? Brailsford?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the marginal gains, the 1%. Just get
black box thinking.
1% better. You know, and if you can get 1% better in 100 areas, you're going to make leaps and bounds. And these guys, you know, up until probably just before 2012 Olympics, the British cycling team couldn't get a sponsor because they were so bad. You know, they couldn't get supplied a bike. Nobody wanted to be associated with them because they were so poor. And this guy rocks up and says, right, we're going to do this. And some of his 1%'s were, you know, things like even down to the type of pillow that they use.
That's huge. Yeah.
Or the mattress. You know, when they go to when they check into a hotel when they're out touring, they have their own mattress and their own pillow because they're guaranteed a good night's sleep, restful sleep. You know, perform better the next day. I'm not suggesting we put mattresses on construction sites before.
No, by the way, that would come up last week. People ask me, "Can we have nap rooms?" I'm like,
but that concept of
maybe
let's do 100 things 1% better.
Yeah.
Let's make it, and when that becomes standard, let's go 1% again.
Move the water cooler.
Yeah, and before you know it, you're making, and this is what this is about. This
is marginal gains.
Yeah.
It's the same theory. There's a book called Black Box Thinking. What's his name? That's terrible because I read his article in the papers every week, and he was on a Freddie and the ping pong guy. He used to play ping pong for Great Britain, right? Anyway, he
that sounds like a terrible band, Freddie and the ping pong guy.
Freddie Flintoff and was on it. Anyway, that's a bar point. ADHD kicking in again. Right, but what he starts off with talking about the black box, and his first story is a plane nearly landed on the Bath Road, not at Heathrow.
Right.
That's the first part of the book.
Yeah.
Recommend it. We'll get links, right?
Yeah.
Get the links to your thing. Get links to Matt to that. Oh my God,
Black Box Thinking.
Yeah, Black Box Thinking, and whatever else.
Yeah.
Right, for later. But those things are so important.
Yeah.
So give me 1% here.
Again, the marginal gains in which Matt talks about is what I'm doing. Again, with 100 different things. There's certain things that I've tried, certain things that don't work and stuff like that there. But we also have to take into consideration we are 400 trillion to 1 to be the people that we are.
Yeah.
We are so unique and we're so different. So we have to be careful in what we're trying to get across here. Yeah. The amazing thing about the natural foods and the difference between processed and natural foods, it's there in black and white. It's not something that we are inventing.
Yeah.
We can see the difference. You can see the difference when we perform. Even to the stage where, here we go, big drive on what about you and why it is. It's about my kids.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that they have something later on in life to go, my dad actually did try to make a difference. And if I can get a sustainable business, which will never be sustainable to me, this has probably cost myself and Matt, I don't know, got to tens of thousands of pounds already to try and get this up and running and that there. It'll never be beneficial to us. But imagine if you could say that your kids were involved in a well-being company where they're looking after others.
I just heard Pauline scream in North Cyprus. I think I heard Claire out of this.
You have squared this with your wives, yes, Dilly.
No. They don't know about that there yet.
Yeah.
But, you know...
tens of pounds, he said. Not tens of thousands of pounds.
But you know what I mean? We've got a sustainable business which is actually looking after people's well-being.
Do you know, it will be worth it, and it will be because it's not always about the money.
It's not about the money, and this is what that the money which I'm talking about. Sorry, the money in which I'm talking about there means nothing. So it doesn't see the stuff in which we've for even health benefits from ourselves. I don't know if you want me. I can go into this here, Matt, but like you're just literally out of depression.
Yeah.
So Matt, here we go. This is the to say that it works.
Yeah.
You know, from the soups, from the watermelons, from the ginger shots in which we're doing, from the things we're talking about, the Shinrin Yoko's, Forest Bathing, grinding. Matt's bigger into the grinding side of things now than myself, and it's not that I introduced him to it, but we talked about it massively. Yeah. Matt done a presentation out in Cyprus with regards to a well-being coffee morning in which he's done about this grinding. This stuff works, and it works with regards to from where Matt was, and even from where I was when I was back home Northern Ireland when I left Mace and I'm back to make it work.
When we presented to Mace, we initially presented to the Neil Kennedy and Maria Demon, the wellbeing lead wellbeing at Heathrow, and Neil Kennedy, who's the business unit partner, health, safety and wellbeing. So we presented to those guys first and said, look, this is what we're proposing. Yeah. And they kind of went, yeah, good idea. Let's put it in front of Tracy at head office. Tracy very kindly came down to us at Heathrow, and we presented to Tracy, Neil, and Maria again. And at the end of that meeting, we were asked to kind of put a little bit more meat on the bones for a business case, and come up with some ideas of how we could prove that it worked.
Yeah.
And we kind of just went, well, let's do it ourselves. You take the physical side, I'll take the mental side.
Yeah.
I was being treated for depression.
Yeah.
Johnny was not in the shape he's in now. And now, that was October, I believe. So what's that? October, November, December. 8 months later, Johnny's got guns like Rocky, and I'm no longer on medication. I'm not being treated for depression. Brilliant. I'm not on any medication. I'm not on.
Love that.
I was on Ramapril. I was being treated for high blood pressure.
Yeah.
I'm not taking high blood pressure. I test my blood pressure regularly. Funnily enough, I checked it today, and I'm borderline normal from doing the stuff.
Blood pressure, anyway.
Oh yeah.
blood. Yes, blood pressure's. Listen, I'm carrying a bit of timber, so it's going to be a little bit high. But listen, I was prior to that. We're talking hypertensive crisis.
Yeah.
When I was at home in Cyprus, I was blue lighted to hospital.
Yeah.
Because they thought I was having a heart attack. And they said, there's 3 things going to happen, Matt. You're going to have a heart attack, you're going to have a stroke, or you're going to drop dead.
Yeah.
I went,
best sort this then.
Better sort it out.
Yeah.
So for the last, certainly since that last meeting with Tracy, Neil and Maria, we've been living and breathing it. Obviously, I've not been doing the nutrition side, as you can tell, but...
Actually, you can tell.
But you have built the website. You have done the academic stuff of it. As I say, the brains, the brawn. That's the way it works. Like,
but listen, you've got to
when Johnny's bashing out the miles around Heathrow, I'm bashing out the keys.
Oh, we all get the videos. We all get the videos
in the home office.
And again, we will do the links for Instagram, and you can all see Johnny's runs and Matt's grounding. But
this is not this is a cheeky way of getting an invite back. The website went live a couple of weeks ago. It's now time for me to start on the physical stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get us back in 3 months' time or 6 months' time.
6 months. Let's
do 6 months
and see the difference.
Yeah.
With 3 of us. Yeah.
Yourself included.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deal.
We're on there.
Deal.
We'll do it.
Perfect.
Because it works.
Accountability, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. But you said something really important. I've been honest on other podcasts. A year ago, I got diagnosed with clinical depression and ADHD all at the same time.
Yeah,
that was a good day.
We've had these chats and they've been good to talk about it. Like,
it's brilliant, isn't it? Right, and I think since then you've got to fix a bit at a time. The 1% here and there, right? I go through my annual checkup, right? That we get my annual. We work for a great company.
Yeah,
right?
we do indeed.
And they provide some great benefits. The health side, we could go into all sorts, right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure my wife might be saying this, but pretty much nailed on. If I didn't work for Mace, we wouldn't have had the healthcare. Yeah. She wouldn't have got the cancer caught, and may not be here. Yeah. Right. So, hats off to the gaffers there.
Yes.
100%.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
But they are incredible. So I started that process like a year ago. I wasn't right in the head. Right?
That's why we all get on.
That's why we all get on brilliantly. You're still not, but
well, I never will be. I don't want to be.
You sounded like the Irishman out of Braveheart. I don't know if anyone said he's not.
But it is incredible that. So I started that journey, and I'm incredibly proud of what I've done. And
That's all you should be.
I met this wonderful person who she has helped me to get to where I am, and discharged me just over a week ago from her care. Right?
Well done, mate. Yeah.
And so that's done. I've started with that.
Yeah.
I stopped smoking,
Yeah.
and there were times when I would hide it. There was other times I didn't, but it was like 20 a day.
Yeah.
Apart from the financial implications of
course,
that, right?
These days.
Which is thousands of pounds.
There, you've added years to your.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't smoke. I have an occasional cigar, right,
Yeah.
with my 92-year-old father-in-law, right. And I can't inhale it. Like, I can't breathe for days. Right? But I'll sit there with him, and we'll sit in the garden. But that's one of life's small luxuries.
Yeah.
On whole, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
My drinking's gone from at least a couple of glasses of wine at night to I'll have a drink at the weekend.
Okay. Brilliant. And you feel better for it.
Yeah, sleep better.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
so the weight will come.
Yeah, well, we talked about it, like when you remember when I sort of came back and we started talking when you came out for the journey, and you weren't in a good place.
No.
You know? Matt was exactly the same. The amount of people that aren't in good places at the moment with regards to where they are, and they are having to do I'm not sure the names of it, the sertralines and the tablets in which they are.
Yeah, no,
but unfortunately, people are still not
medication.
comfortable being as open and honest and candid as Stu.
Yeah,
and
of
that's
course.
why we're here.
And here we go, and see that there, like we talked about it, we've done the Mates in Mind stuff, so we're going to have
Shout out to Mates in Mind, by the way.
Well, we're doing one better, no offence, Mates in Mind. All right, sorry.
I always say, pause, just press Johnny's pause button. There is no bad initiative to improve mental health.
100%. And I am
love
not
them all.
criticising anybody that is trying to help others. I tip my hat to them, because that's what is it, Martin Luther King's thing. That's what's life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are we doing to help others?
Yeah.
That is what we are doing. The good thing about what we are trying to do here, and what we believe we are, we care.
Yeah.
And to have passion, you have to have care. And what we are trying to do here is trying to implement that to the lads on site, because we do see it on a nightly basis. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
Every now and again, you see them at a comm session every 6 months or whatever it is. Yeah, well done and all that there. But you don't see what they're doing night in, night out. And that's what this will be. The marginal gains from what we're trying to give to this year. Again, our stories will probably be hopefully able to promote it.
Someone. Yeah.
But what Matt was talking about with regards to the depression and what you've done there, it was always a stigma to say that, oh no, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to think.
Yeah.
We done the Mates in Mind there after. Can I talk about the Adam Taylor thing? Can I talk about you don't mind?
Johnny, I tell you what.
Do you want to have a break, or do we start?
I think let's have a comfort break.
Yeah. And
then
we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
And Johnny will have managed to carve open some
Key
limes
limes
for us as well.
Very
And then
safely.
You very safely.
Yeah.
He's going to do a risk assessment and a method statement
with the right tools.
Yes, of
before
course.
we start. And
Standing there in my pocket here.
is it got a retractable blade? Okay, we'll catch you all after our short comfort break.
Thank you.
Right, go on, mate.
We're on.
Sorry. Just nearly.
I've got a first alert form in the bag.
Just nearly made Stuart deaf there, like blowing my nose right in front of the mic. Sorry. Right, first time. I'll remember for next time not to do that.
Anyway, welcome back. If you're still here,
Sunglasses
Matt's had his shades on through the first off. Just realised, I think. Anyway, let's get back into it. So before we move on to the ATP that we mentioned before, I think we've got some goodies on the desk here. And
so listen, here we go. I've cut that under the guidance of our health and safety team here. Had goggles on and cut level 3 things.
PPE on.
Yeah.
Turn it back off.
So again,
tell us why.
So these are key limes. If anybody that is watching, this is
not normal limes.
Proper lime. So as I would call it, I would like this. I'm not going to go down the GMO route type things but the ones in which they don't have seeds. in my opinion, aren't real. So these little bad boys, Stu is now accustomed to these. He gets some orders, and the first time I give him them, he was like, "Whoa, they're amazing." So I don't know. You probably wouldn't be able to see this. Is it this one or that one?
That one pointing straight at you. We'll get it.
You look at the shape, and this is the thing. The interesting facts about the stuff in which we're taking, the stuff in which we're eating. The watermelon is actually the best form of H3O2, so it's your best form of water. They say eat your water. If you're on a fast, exactly as I am, this is the stuff in which I take because it's 94% water, etc. So really, really good for you, electrolytes and that. But these little bad boys, if you look at these and you were to cut them in half, they actually look like your lungs. Yeah, you see that?
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
So these actually do break up mucus within the body. So it just shows you that how plants and how nature is so connected to us. That's what these are actually for breaking up mucus within the body.
And torturing you.
And torturing Matt. So what we usually do is, I'll go first with this here one. So what I do, every morning I'll have one of these by my bed, along with a mineral salt or a Celtic sea salt. First thing that I have in the morning.
Salts.
Yep,
yes,
this is salts. I didn't bring it with me here because I didn't want sweating in my bag and going off. Because every morning I will drink at least 1.5 to 2 litres of water. The first thing I do is take a pinch of Celtic sea salt in there to replenish the minerals in which we lose, obviously, in our sleep. Again, we talk about this comfort thing in which we have all night. We've got the nice warm beds, we sweat, especially in this heat. We should be taking a mineral salt to try and replenish it. Yep.
Let me jump in there, but this is an important thing. A conversation I had with my wife, Pauline, yesterday. She had headaches, dehydrated. But I've drunk loads of water. It's not just about the water.
Yep.
It's the salts, the minerals, the electrolytes. There will be lots of people out there that are aware of that, but for every person that is aware of that, I can guarantee you there is just drinking water will not hydrate you in this weather.
And a lot of the more people I speak to, the more people actually don't know about it. You know, for instance, I'm wearing a black t-shirt. When I'm training and out there, I actually like to wear a black t-shirt because when I sweat and I let it dry, you can actually see the salt from it, so your minerals have actually lost. So if you, for instance, have done a heavy workout and you've had a black t-shirt or a dark t-shirt on, hang it up, have a look and see the actual minerals come off you. So a Celtic sea salt, or this is a wee bit of, I love this fact, so it is, we're comprised of 102 minerals. We're like a salt battery, 70% water with 102 minerals in it. Celtic sea salt has 82 minerals on it. It's one of the nearest purest forms of replenishing your minerals for when you're training or when you're woken up from a sweaty sleep, for instance, like that. Amazing stuff. Now I have run, and you know this here because you were on the phone to me one thing.
I can't believe you were still running. And, was it mile 57 or something when I ran you?
So I've done a 110k run for my kids' school and stuff like that there. I've done 100 a year before. I always try and do 10% more. So next year I'll be 121. So anyway, since I've been taking the mineral salt and the Celtic sea salt, I have not cramped once. And that's through all them runs, so it just proves that it does work. So have a go at that. If you do a workout or a strenuous type of activity, put the top up and look at the salt that comes off that.
Celtic sea salt,
not
Saxa.
Right, come on then, Johnny.
Right, okay, so here we go. Right, cheers.
Cheers.
Matt, come on. Right. Love it. Oh.
Animals. I put Neil Kennedy in that category as well. He eats these, and Johnny eats these like they're Smarties.
Lovely. But again, you feel it then liven up your palate thing. Key limes, they are the energy you get from it. Hence the reason why when I wake up in the morning, that's
nature's espresso shot, though.
It's exactly what it is. And again, a little bit more of education with regards to that. Maybe what we do is we start bringing in bags or boxes of key limes.
If only we had fruit baskets coming in,
but proper ones. Yeah, not ones with the stuff in. They fill them up with loads of apples and that.
Let's make the change.
Yeah, exactly.
People might like the apples as well.
No, they do go. But
no,
look,
they don't, because I listen.
Some like them.
Some really like them. Yeah, but we won't go too much in there. But yeah, again, it's educating again with it there. And obviously we've got the watermelon.
Yep.
The watermelon is watermelon with a difference. That is.
Come on, tell me about the difference.
So the difference is
it's great for getting the nuclear bomb taste of key lime out of your mouth afterwards.
What I usually do with these here is, I buy one of these a week. We're talking a big watermelon. I actually bought one. This is a funny story. I bought one last week.
Too big.
Too big. I broke 2 bags trying to get it in the bag to take it home, and I broke 2 bags on the day. But it has to be the big watermelon.
Yeah.
It does. Some of the ones, the smaller ones, they're not as nutritional.
Well, they're not grown, I suppose.
Exactly, so they are.
It is, yeah.
But what I've done with this one is cut it up in a bit and squeeze lemon on it. Have a try of it, Stu.
I will have a try.
It tastes like sherbet.
Sherbet,
It does, yeah. Well, I'm convinced that it is, and the difference in taste.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I told you.
Especially for some, not everyone's a fruit lover. Lots of children.
I've dodged salads in my time, you might notice, but
bit of lemon, it completely changes
the contrast.
That's outstanding. So that's a watermelon. Does it have to come from? You know what you like? Does it have to come from a specific aisle or shop? Or
I like to go. There's a certain shop that I use here in Hounslow, the Salad Supermarket. With big shout out. I go up there all the time. I am like the mad Irishman that comes in there. I'm straight in there. Boom, what watermelons have you got? Coconuts, etc., and so on.
Yeah.
I tried to get a couple of coconuts to here. The problem with the coconuts is you have to have them fresh and they have to be cool.
Right.
By the time I would have got them here, they mightn't have tasted good and probably wouldn't be able to open them.
No.
If you can, obviously, cost of living crisis and
that's
people
kind of what I mean.
Oh.
Is it all right if you go and get one from the German supermarkets?
If you can get an organic one,
Yep.
that's always the best.
Yeah.
best.
Okay.
But if it's the local Tesco's, Sainsbury's, then better than nothing. I live in North Cyprus, and I had Johnny, Claire, and his 2 boys out last October, and these things grow like.
Amazing.
Billio, yeah.
You just quite literally go and pick one from the field, and the difference in taste.
It's amazing.
And lemons, I bring lemons.
Maybe we should do that podcast in Cyprus.
Oh, 100%.
You're more than welcome.
I'll tell you what.
Pauline, get the guest bedroom ready.
Bedrooms. Yeah.
Well, listen. Let's jump into that there a wee bit. One more thing about that. But Cyprus, which I never knew about, Matt told me. Cyprus stands for copper. Right?
Actually means copper. Yeah.
So Matt brought me a couple of the rocks and stuff back, because they're obviously enough green with regards to the copper in them.
Yeah.
So you wonder why they're stating now that if you were to infuse a copper rod, for instance, or excuse my agricultural ignorance, when you put a bit of copper in through your flower beds and stuff like that, they will actually grow quicker and stronger. That's a thing. Like that.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But again, and we are. Listen, where we're hoping this does actually go within the future, we're sort of got a 5-year plan to go. We would like to have a retreat out in Cyprus for
this.
Everybody. It's for the likes of people that are suffering from mental health, bad well-being. A retreat where you can go there and you do eat naturally raw organic food from the ground. We're also thinking about, because it is called copper, we call it something like Copper Man instead of Iron Man, and have a couple of events. Kids and all, neurodiverse, the whole lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is the big plan.
Listen, it is so important, the education, the food-wise. You mentioned neurodiversity. You and I both been diagnosed with ADHD. Yeah. And understanding, I'm really fortunate, right? I have some very good friends and a wife who work as specialists in that field. And learning on behalf of me and my son, who is ADHD, about what to eat, what to drink, what to stop him eating and drinking. That's the hardest part,
of course,
right? When he sneaks off to make himself a coffee at 9 o'clock at night, you're like, oh no, right? It's going to be another 4 days till he goes to sleep, right? But this is really important, right? It's the physical health of our colleagues across the industry, our mental health, and in order to understand that, we need people like you guys doing this, and I'm so proud you chose me to start amplifying that voice for you.
We can't thank you enough for giving us an opportunity like this here. But the other thing we'll jump on to with regards to the educating the guys on nights and the girls on nights and the pit workers.
Take it home as well.
There you go. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah. They take it home.
100%.
Boom. Yeah, the amount of lads that have now converted to try and getting like proper foods and stuff from these supermarkets and stuff like that. They're telling me, I can't believe the difference in taste. I can't believe this is.
That's immediately what I did after you told me. I went home and started researching them and sending you pictures of where I was getting them from.
Listen, because no one believes me. Like I'm this mad, like Irish man. Even mine, but listen, I know, but my missus. I have to get a celebrity to tell my missus that it works. You know, what I mean, it doesn't come from me. She's got she calls it the Johnny filter. Turns it off, like, she's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah,
we've all got one of them.
with regards to the guys taking it home, one of a great story, if you like, was, a guy came in and we do ginger shots as well.
Yeah.
Nuclear bomb in a bottle. A little
canned
ginger
pepper.
Shot. These are not the ginger shots that you're going to go and buy from Innocent or Boots. These are proper, proper ginger shots that do exactly what it doesn't say on the tin. But we've had guys bring them in that they've made at home with their kids.
Brilliant.
They've tweaked the recipe. Didn't like this. Well, getting the kids. Brilliant success stories.
I used a lime instead of the lemons in it as well.
Lime or the coconut.
The lime and the coconut. I didn't use coconut water. But I think we could... You're right. My kids... I remember telling the limes and the kids going, "You're mad." But hopefully they'll have a go. Right?
Oh, listen, they are, and they are, and as you say, they're a little bit of they're a natural espresso type thing.
Yeah,
they do liven you up. They're waking up your palate, etc., and so on. And again, which you sort of didn't know about this, they release mucus within the body.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
We have, and I'm going to say it's scientifically backed, that a lot of cancers start within mucus within the body, lymphatic nodes and stuff like that there. So the best way is trying to release the mucus from your body. Again, running, walking, whatever, cycling, all that type of stuff does get rid of that. So
brilliant. Thanks for that.
No problem.
Love that.
Yep.
Now, before we went off for our comfort break,
yes.
You mentioned 3 letters to me, ATP.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us more about this?
Right. So the ATP.
Really
But the ATP is actually, we're going to talk about Heathrow and ATP. It is a baggage system for it's authorising
to
proceed within the baggage hall. It's a permit that you have to have in place, or you cannot work there. Right. Yeah. So we're toying with the idea of. I'll tell you what, actually, the ADHD is kicking in. I've had a bit of food. I'm going. Let's start again. Actually.
So I can edit it later.
Yeah. 30th of October. Yeah, is the correct date. Yeah.
Yeah, we our original business model or product, service offer, whatever you want to call it, wasn't what we're aiming for now. It was aimed specifically at the night management team, of which there are 15 at Heathrow, 1 down at Gatwick. So a team of 16. That was our original offer. What we were going to work with. But tragically, on the 30th of October last year, a guy that we knew, Johnny knew a lot more than me, but I knew Adam to speak to on site, to say hello to. Unfortunately, on the 30th of October last year, he was in such a place, such a dark place, that he thought or felt that his only option was to take his own life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what he did. At 30 years of age, 3 young children. Great guy.
Yeah.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw it coming. That poor lad suffered in silence. When he was at work, when he was at home, when he was... And that's when it changed for us. We kind of went... I'm going to say it. We went, fuck.
Yeah.
The industry needs what we're purporting to do. You know, we're looking at 16 guys.
We've got 900.
There's 900 out there
at the moment.
And more coming.
More coming.
Yeah. That's just us, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? So just our business, right? So there's thousands every night, and there will be for years to come.
it's projected for 2035. The work on
beyond.
which
We'll all be retired.
That's what we're talking now. We're talking about 1,500 by then.
Yeah.
It's an extra 600 more than what we've got here at the moment.
It's a construction site with planes landing on it.
Exactly.
Those.
It's wonderful. Anyway,
those mental health suicide stats, no matter how many times you say them, it's like working at Heathrow. No matter how many times you see an A380 take off,
it's amazing.
You stand there and think, how the f does that get up there?
Yeah, I'm well trained today.
Every time I say these stats, and I say them quite regularly in presentations and in conversations with people, I think to myself, wow, 2 people in our industry every day.
Today, yesterday,
tomorrow,
yeah,
Saturday, the weekend.
And it's the only ones we know about, though.
And they say for every 2 completed suicides, there's 75 attempts.
That's
75 attempts for every suicide.
I mean, I think, my ongoing message, and I've stolen this from someone else, it might be Tom Chapman, the Lions Barbers things, right? I'd rather listen to your story than go to your funeral.
Oh.
Right, and that's the thing. That's the thing we've got to do. Right, it's one of the things we can do is listen. They listen to Ask Twice things that the Lighthouse Club did. I keep saying the Lighthouse family.
Yeah,
Lighthouse Club, right? It could be lifted.
Yeah.
Right, and we've got to address the stats. In our game, in construction, it's 3 times more likely than the national average.
And the lower types of trades and stuff like that, the painter and decorators and stuff, there's scary stats within it.
I spoke to somebody last week, Stu. John, Johnny called me up and I was talking to somebody. He told me I just took the hands off the wheel while I was driving home. I couldn't do it anymore. I was driving down the motorway and I took my hands off the wheel and shut my eyes. And then he just thought, what are you doing?
What are you doing, yeah? Scary.
These guys that we see on a daily basis, and Johnny mentioned the Mates in Mind, brilliant what those guys do. We present, not funnily, that's the wrong word to say, coincidentally, that's the right way of putting it. We were due to roll out the Mates in Mind presentation, start the conversation presentation to Heathrow night shift on the 30th of October, the day that Adam passed away, and we just went, we
not
can't.
Tonight. That's
we
not
can't.
The time for
it's going to look like a knee-jerk reaction. It wasn't, but it could potentially be perceived that way. So we didn't. We delayed it a couple of weeks. But from the middle of November up to the Christmas break, whenever we broke, the 22nd to 21st, whenever it was, we presented to, I think it was 452 people.
That's it.
And out of those 452 people, the conversations that I had on site afterwards were people coming up and text messages that people sent me.
Yeah.
Matt, don't tell anyone, but
but this, that, and the other.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
People that you just would not think are in a bad place mentally. The Joker out there. The guy that's the life and soul of the party is texting me saying, Matt, I'm done. Yeah, frightening, absolutely frightening, those stats, and they never get any easier to say. They never get. I
think you're right. It is hard. You get those messages, but I go back to that quote I gave from Tom. Right, I'd rather leave that than someone else attack me. The worst thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that was the thing with Adam. Like I was trying to help. So I was with him at the time. Actually, I was out with you in Cyprus, and I came back.
There and the boys are out.
And I came back on the Monday. Yeah, back into Heathrow Monday. Bit late. Because I did say to him before I went, listen, I'm going on holiday. Phone's on. Yeah. When I got back on the Monday, late into work, straight in. You know what I'm like, fly in, straight into work, all in. Next day I got up, right, going to give him a call. Got a text message to say that he had passed away. That hurt.
Yeah.
And that's where we're saying this direction changed.
Yeah.
That was the point in which myself and Matt went, we need to do more. And people may come out here and say to me, yeah, you done enough, you couldn't have done any more, and that there, like that there. Well, we are going to do more. That's not. We're not. It's not. This isn't a. No, I could have done more. Yeah. We are going to do more. I have been working.
What you've got to do is just remember that you are doing more.
Yeah.
Right? Because if someone says to you how many lives you saved, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, and you will never know.
Yeah.
You will never know how many lives you save. But if you save one, it's worth every penny and every hour and second.
Everything in which we've done here. And I watched, and again, we'll go to the ATP project. So the ATP project is the Adam Taylor project.
Yes.
I've got it. I've been dealing with his mum Wendy and dad Christopher, and they've went through unimaginable pain, loss, things in which I would never want to have happen to any of my children, never mind anybody else, and things. Because I've seen the hurt in that there. Myself and Matt have obviously come up with the ATP thing. We call it the Adam Taylor project. Wendy and Chris have given us their blessing to do it. Yeah. We've still got a lot to do to put it all together in. But what we want to have to do is we want to have this process brought into Heathrow, where we are there as I'm going to say a platform to help anybody that is struggling.
Yeah.
Because I feel as if we had had that there, then Adam might still be here. And that's just the thing. And that's why we want to bring this here to that there. And that's where our direction has changed from looking at the night managers just in general to everybody. And do you know what? It has been a blessing, hasn't it?
Because it is everybody, and it is, and you too will be a blessing to people doing it.
I hope so.
Because it is everybody. Everyone counts, and people at all levels struggle. You know, I've had conversations with a chap this week, and he's running a number of companies, right, in our game, and could have what he wants, right, financially, it's fine, but he's struggling, and he reached out to me and said that, you know, can I have a chat?
Brilliant.
Of course you can, mate. Of course you can, anytime.
Amazing.
And we're just the same blokes, right, and I want to talk to him, I want to help him.
That's the reason why that's the reason why we are sitting at this table. I personally have got into the stage now where I believe things happen for a reason. I'm at that stage now where I'm not going to say spiritually thing, but I believe things are starting to happen for a reason.
I think we're awake.
And an awakening type of stuff, an enlightenment in what's happening. This coming together from what you even saying about this, I seen your podcast, was like, oh, amazing, and for you to bring this here down. This is just the next piece in the puzzle for where we, not me and Matt, you included, like in this. You will be part of anything in which we do here, because you've been one of our biggest backers, if not our best backer, with regards to helping us promote this here. When you come in at nights, you promote it as much as possible. I hear you talking about it. You're adapting to everything in which we're trying to do, even the key limes. This is why this is going to work, and hopefully anybody that is watching, if you do need anybody, then you need to reach out to any of us.
Yeah,
hit us
absolutely.
up. Hit us up. Yeah, anytime. We're on nights. You can hit Stu up on days. Anything about between 5 in the morning and 12, you can hit Stu up. Like anything else is us.
One of the biggest reasons as well as to why this is going to work is, you know, we were asked when we presented before to put a bit more meat on the bones for a business case. There is no business case for this. We don't care. You know, people will class a failure. Oh, you lost £20,000. I'm not interested in that, Stu. We had a spit handshake when we started and said, look, we're going to do this no matter what. If we go, you know, like the old Backdraft film, you go, I go. If we do this,
we go together.
If we take the lid off the bottle and the gene is out, we're in it for the long run. You know, listen, it's been tough.
Yeah.
It's been tough, but there is no. We can't fail because we want everybody to win. Yeah. We can't fail.
And you will make. There is a business case for this, and I'm going to tell you about the business case for it. So we talked about, you know, the lost productivity. Right, a happier workforce is a more productive workforce. A workforce that is cognizant of its neurodivergence is a better workforce and a happier workforce because they feel included. So inclusion's really important. Healthy.
Yeah.
If you've got a stone in your shoe, if someone can help you take it out, you're going to work better.
Yep.
There's a lot of metaphorical stones in your shoe. One of the stats that I got, this is probably a lot higher, but when I was doing stuff with the Lions Barber Collective and Dom, was the one. It was his
Doesn't
Netflix
he look great, by the way, at the minute?
Well, I can't have him on a video podcast.
Well done, Tom. Tom, if you ever get to see this,
he will.
Props to you, son.
Let's get a work in together, mate. Then let's go.
Them two, you can work out together. Yeah,
let's get it on.
We'll watch. We'll do counting. He did a documentary. And it's available. You can find it certainly on YouTube. Right? It's called the £1.7 million haircut.
Right.
Because at that point, I'm talking about 2016, 17, but circa 8, 9, 10 years ago, the research showed that was the cost to the economy, financial, of a suicide. £1.7 million cost to the economy. And you're just like, wow. So that's 3.4 million a day in construction.
Right.
The cost of the economy.
Yeah.
So there's a business case for you.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's hard. It's crass, right? We feel, and this is a stigma we've got to break, that making profit's a bad word, or financial cost to something is a bad thing to consider. But money gets into every part of life, right? So there is a business case for it. Whether it's the government, whether it's an employer, whatever it might be.
If we were wanting to do it for the side of money things, we could do it a different route. We were actually going down the route of the boxes at the start, and that was going to be a financial way.
Yeah.
And again, as I say, this thing with Adam and how it's turned around, it's changed our perspective, and perspective is everything. Our perspective.
I think what you're doing is amazing.
Yeah.
The point I'm picking up on is when you said we don't have a business case.
Yeah.
I disagree. You absolutely do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. You know, having had businesses in the past, you know, there are certainly ways that there are obvious ways that you could monetize this as a business, but that is
wipes
not
its face. That's what it's about, right?
That is 100%
because you know what you don't want to do is have. It's got to pay for itself.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that means then you're not having the mental health issues that comes with something costing you a lot of money.
That's the struggle that we sort of not what we've had, like, but financially, like it has done us a little bit, like, but you know what though, it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
Every penny.
When you have a conversation, you know that you know, you said 5 minutes ago, Stu, you'll probably never know how many people that you've reached and affected. Well, I know of two that are still walking planet Earth because of her. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm happy. I'm more than happy. I'm over the moon that children's fathers are still with us.
Yep.
Wives, husbands are still with us. Parents, sons are still with us.
Yeah.
Not still with us, but
thriving.
They're not in that dark place anymore.
Yeah.
You know, if nothing else, if we invested the money that we're invested, and I never heard of another success story, I'll go to bed eternally happy.
Well, look, there are. We'll come back to ATP in a minute, but just to segue slightly back to what about you? This hopefully will be seen and heard by all of those people that I'm connected to on the LinkedIn, the Instagram, Facebook, whatever it might be, Apple Podcasts, whatever, all these great places, right? Let's say 100 people listen to it and 2 pick up the phone.
Yeah.
That's been worth it, right? Hopefully more.
Yeah.
And that's where it will come from. And I think you need to, and I'll help you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many of our colleagues across my network and yours, internally or externally to our employer.
If more than 2 people do pick it up and make contact, please, which camera are we on? Please be aware that, you know, this is a bolt on, if you like. This is not our full-time job.
Yeah.
You know.
Listen, the podcast for me it's something I'm doing at my own personal passion, and I know you guys.
We both work nights. We work, probably a few more hours than we should.
Easy.
As most people's email signatures seem to say these days, we work different hours and we don't expect you to respond in the same time.
But please don't, if you do want to reach out, don't let that stop you reaching out.
And we'll get all the contact details up and we'll do a little wrap up at the end. So, right, come on, what are we doing with ATP?
So the ATP project, as I say, it's in its infancy. It's the next phase within What About You and where we're trying to bring it to Heathrow. That will be the birthplace of this. Again, like I said, I got the blessings from Adam's mum and dad. We will start with either a monthly or a fortnightly meet at an agreed location within Heathrow, where myself and Matt, or just maybe Matt or myself, is there. Okay. And it's more or less a meeting point to have a chat. Yep. We will be having our sort of what about you information stuff from which we've got here regards to nutrition and stuff, just on us. But what we want to start it off is just a conversation.
Brilliant.
How are you? What about you?
What about you?
That's exactly what it is. That's why, it's Matt that's made this what about you more.
Listen, every day I hear that phrase now, and it's brilliant. I love it.
And it is, and Matt's, it's an open-ended question for what it is. What about you? It's how you say it, though.
Yeah.
What about you? With a smile and a bit of cheer in your voice, and that's what it'll be. It'll be a coffee, a sit down, and this will grow.
Yeah.
This will grow legs. We will have, and we will do a couple of areas in which it will be landside, and we will have Adam's mum and dad maybe come in when they're ready to come in to say what has happened with regards to how they've dealt with things and how it has affected their lives, and how maybe Adam not talking to them has affected this so much. I don't want them to have to do that there, but from what we talk about to them, they do want to make it. They've told me many times they do not want any other family to go through this, and Matt personally doesn't want that to happen. Even on sites, we had a lot of people on Heathrow that were badly affected by this.
And it takes a lot of strength. Us three sitting in this room today, it's taken a lot of strength to get. I can perform, right? Yeah. I can perform on stage. I can perform in a meeting. Yeah. Put me in front of any client, any workforce. I can do it with a mask on, right?
Yeah.
I hate that phrase.
But, you're right.
I can mask it.
Yep.
But I'm real now.
Yep.
Right. From what I've got through the last year.
Yep.
And to go from where I was, there's no way 12 months ago.
Yeah.
I think apart from you, actually, you two. I mean, that I would have told anyone.
Yeah.
What I was going through.
How much strength is in that there?
Yeah.
This is the thing that I talked about when we done this Mates in Mind. You think it's a weak thing talking about your mental health. I think it's stronger than any strong man in the world lifting the heaviest weight. What do you call the thing that lifted 500? Eddie Hall.
Yeah, the Atlas balls.
Well, I think admitting that you have a mental health problem or an issue with regards to your mental health is stronger than him lifting that 500 kilos.
Yeah.
Without a shadow, and that's the thing, and that's the thing that needs to do. If Tyson Fury, the baddest man on the planet in the time, can go to switch off and say that he's going to wrap his Ferrari into a bridge and that there, it can affect anybody. Yeah. So we are stronger together. So this is what this will build, and this is the start of something special going forward. The ATP project, the Headspace and Hard Hats, the What About You. This is our end goal is to help people. End of.
Nothing, and the Adam Taylor project. It's not going to be, flashing lights, crash, bang. There's no razzmatazz. It's nothing. It's nothing more than, if you want it, it's nothing more than a few lads sat around a table having a natter.
Right, and you're not going to call it a safe space because there will be people too macho about that. But it will be a space where you can go and have a natter, right?
And talk about how you feel.
Yeah.
And listen,
don't be worried about it. Come and watch.
My missus will watch this and she'll go, well, you don't do that there like so I am getting better at it.
You are.
And with this, it's getting more better. And from my past traumas, my past adversity and challenges which I have, I am starting to deal with things so much better. Matt will tell you, I went through a wee bit of a rough patch there a couple of weeks ago there. Like, I could have easily went the old route.
Yeah.
I could have went down the alcohol, the drugs, or whatever there could be. I could have went down that route where I'd have just went, that's it. I've had enough. I'm not doing all this thing to try and help others. Who's helping me?
Yeah.
Do you know what? And that's the beauty of what we were doing here as well.
Yeah.
That's how this is how amazing this is. This stuff in which we're selling. 5 years ago, I'd have been off the rails. I'd have went back to my old
ways. Yeah.
Definitely. And with regards to how I've got over it and dealt with it, I stuck to the plan, and it has worked. Again, that's another wee bit of a thing to say that what we're doing really does work mentally, not physically, but mentally.
Brilliant. Well, look, I'm going to come to takeaways, right?
Yeah.
But I did a recent podcast.
Yeah.
And he said I'm going to throw some curveballs in.
Yep. Brilliant.
So I'm going to do that.
Bring them on.
Because I thought it was really interesting.
Yep.
And I wasn't ready for it.
Yep.
What's your favourite book and why?
Oh, I tell you what, my favourite one is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Yeah.
What? You were going to say that?
That's
I'll tell you what I'll do. The reason being, though, as well, and this is one of the reasons why it is, you can say it's your favourite one, because at the end of the day, I read that at a time when I needed it.
Yeah.
And my missus doesn't get it. Yeah, he's just shouting at you and that there. That's what I need. I need that type of thing. Again, we're all different. And I gave it to you at the time, didn't I? And it really helped with regards to you.
Got one.
So I know which one you're going to do. It's like a married couple here. Yeah, David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me.
Okay.
A lot of stuff that are reflected in there that sort of I can relate to. So.
And you, Matt.
The Starbucks experience. I would have said the follow up to, but that's too obvious.
Yeah.
Johnny didn't steal mine. Johnny took my.
Glad you asked
one.
me first.
But yeah,
I didn't. You just went first.
That's the only book I've read.
But the Starbucks experience.
Yeah.
It's the story of Starbucks and how it came to be where it is, and it's from by a guy called Joseph Michelli, and he spent however long it was, 18 months, a couple of years, he was given free access by the execs of Starbucks to wander around the head office in Seattle and talk to whoever he wanted, sit in on board meetings, and he wrote this book, and I'm forever quoting it when I'm in Starbucks, because Starbucks is not what it once was.
Yes,
in my opinion.
Fair enough.
You know, they got to the top, and now they've done this. But I'm forever quoting it. You obviously haven't read.
No.
I'm quoting it to staff in Starbucks.
Oh right.
You obviously haven't read the Starbucks.
I haven't read it either, but I will.
It's all about customer service, loyalty, productivity. It's a great business book.
We should go for that.
I know yours is the Peter Kay, isn't it?
I loved it. I love that book.
I wasn't going to ask you because I knew what yours is.
But it's because it makes me feel happy, right? And it cheers me up. And I'm from the same kind of area as him, and Phoenix Nights is a bit like Buckley Working Men's Club, where my dad still drinks.
Max and Paddy's my favourite show ever. What's the outtakes?
Right, they're amazing. Yeah, so we could do that. I mean, that is good. And from an industry perspective, I read Sir Alan Coxshaw's memoirs. It was about building bridges and connecting people, which is really good. Actually, and I do recommend that as well.
I'll give it a go.
It's a big read.
Yeah, audiobook when I'm out running.
Audiobook when you're out running. There you go. I'm not sure whether Alan's done that.
ADHD and the dyslexia does not go well with sitting down, mate. So.
I was just to say, I heard the last book you read, Spot did find the ball, didn't he?
I don't know. I didn't finish it. Couldn't finish it.
Amazing. Well, look, I think. I know, not think, we could stay here all weekend doing this, right? But you've got
work to go to
tonight.
I have to fly home in the morning.
On a Friday night.
Fly home in the morning
ladies and
as well.
gentlemen. Friday nights. these boys are heroes. Making sure people can fly off tomorrow.
Myself included.
You included. When you're off to your holidays, anyone who's listening to this, especially over the next coming months, and if you see a bit of hoarding around the UK's greatest airports, we've got as our business unit director calls it, the regional airport.
Yes, that's it.
As well. Just think of those people that would been there the night before, when you're a bit miffed that there aren't quite enough seats, or whatever it might be, because there's some construction work going on. Or when you look at the amazing facilities and the bathrooms, remember that was the construction workers as well that did it.
Yeah.
And the fantastic things about the airport, when you drive up to T5 and you see the glossy, shiny bit, the bit we don't see very often, that's because of people like Matt and Johnny and our colleagues that work in this wonderful industry and at that great place. It's not, it's been part of my career since 1999. I'm old enough for that. I got to that bit now where I'm not the young one anymore.
Let me.
But listen, Heathrow has that. I still have a deep. This sounds weird that you can have a deep affection for
an airport. Absolutely, it's a wonderful
for an
place.
airport. But I went to Heathrow Terminal 5 when it was a big muddy
same
puddle.
Yeah,
and to see what it is now, and I don't think everybody shares in that sort of sense of pride.
Yes, not anymore. Not anymore.
But that sentiment,
it's almost like going home.
It feels like that. I mean, it goes back. Heathrow itself goes back to me to being a kid, but I'm not going to go through that again. But so some key takeaways for me today, I think, is where we're going, where you're going, and I'll come with you on the journey.
It's too late. You're in, mate.
I'm in.
You know what I'm like. I'll be round your house, mate, knocking your door, mate.
You will. And I think we've got support. You've got my support. I think the business as a whole will love what you're doing. That's directly and within our supply chain and up with the clients, because there are great things about mental health, physical health and awareness out there to help those that are in those places that need the help. What I see you've got here is it's not reactive, it is trying to bring it. Stop people getting there.
Exactly.
Stop people getting there. I can't think of the word now.
When you look at looking after your well-being will help your mental health. We're not doctors. We're not neurologists. We don't have GHDs and this here stuff. What we do have, we have past experience. Depression. Got through it. Help people along the way. Looking after your body, looking after your well-being, your mental health, your physical health will improve your mental health. This is the thing. And what about you? WAY stands for well-being and you as well. So it does. So it's all about your well-being, and that could be
our way.
And that could be going to the pub. That could be your well-being. I'm not trying to say
it will be for me tonight. I'm just absolutely putting my hands up on that.
Listen, and good luck to you. If that's what makes you happy, ultimately what well-being's all about.
It's being happy in your own skin.
Exactly.
And I think that's important. And I think so. Where can my hopeful someone who will be subscribing and listening to us, where we're going to find us? We'll put the links in the chat, but
ultimately, there's only two ways at the moment, because there's just me and Johnny. We don't have a team of staff, so we're on Instagram. _what_about_you. I think there's a final underscore.
I don't think you have to write underscore. It's
just what about you?
We'll put the link in.
If you hit what about you on Instagram, you'll find us there, and the website.
And the website, which is linked to it.
whataboutye.co.uk.
Okay, so we'll get those out there. Listen, it's been an absolute privilege and a blast, and you've made it feel easy. Natural.
Has been good.
Right, and we'll get it out across our networks. We'll get the conversations moving. I think this is for me, it's a passion anyway, what you do. So I'm pleased that I've found what you're doing.
We hope that comes across that way.
Yeah.
We do.
And it really does to me anyway. And I think hopefully people that are there listening. And so thanks, chaps.
Thank you, mate.
Enjoy your shift tonight. Stay safe.
I've got some goodies for you. I'll give you them afterwards. Before I forget, don't let me go without giving them to you.
Is there anything you need a camera to see, or is it all we okay?
No, it would be crash if I did it on or with people to see. Just don't let me go without giving it to you.
Okay, fine.
I've bought you some goodies.
Fantastic.
We've got to charge off to work, but I normally charge off and go, oh shit, I was meant to.
I tell you what, I don't even think I've sworn.
Not yet.
Haven't I? I'm not going to.
Good lad.
Yeah.
Well,
once I get out of here, about excellent threats.
One of my upcoming guests is a really good friend of mine who has Tourette's.
Brilliant!
He will love that. We'll get that on there. But
Stu, thanks for having us.
There are people who are going to watch this and think, I can't believe Johnny Pankhurst did not swear for however long we've been doing this.
Hi, check me out. Hi, Claire. Get in there.
Cheers, John.
No problem. Thank you very much, mate.
Stu.
Thanks.